Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us begin with the headlines. Salt shortage rumour sparks chaos in several states as centre intervenes. Assures there is no paucity. Sale prices hit as high as 400 rupees a kilo. 72 hours extension of use of old 500 and 1000 rupee notes to pay utility bills, fuel recharges, railway tickets. Income Tax Department asks bank to report deposits of over 2.5 lakh rupees. 1,736 NGOs will no longer be able to receive foreign funds after failing to renew FCRA registration. Ramakrishna Mission, Mata Amritanand Mai Mutt and Church of South India Diocese of Madras among them. India and Japan sign long-pending civil nuclear deal. Both nations also call for peaceful solution to territorial disputes in South China Sea, say no one should resort to threat or use of force. And Islamic State group fighters reportedly kill and hang over 60 people this week after alleging they were collaborating with Iraqi troops in Mosul. Our top story this morning, well, as if the scramble of the new notes were not enough, now rumours of acute shortage of cooking salt sent a wave of panic across parts of the country on Friday night. Now, states of Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat witnessed chaos outside shops selling salt. Now, the prices reportedly went as high as 400 rupee per kg in some states. The centre as well as the state governments have clarified that there was no shortage of salt in the country and they have advised people not to indulge in panic buying. Panic gripped parts of India on Friday night as rumours of acute shortage of salt spread across the country. In Uttar Pradesh, long queues were seen outside wholesale shops in state capital Lucknow and areas of the national capital region, forcing the administration to order early closing of shops. Reportedly, salt was being sold in retail shops for more than 200 rupees per kilogram. There was chaos outside many shops as people jostled to buy a packet.
घर के नमक के लोग अफवाह उड़ाए, नमक 400 रुपए पैकेट हो गया, इसीलिए हम दौड़ के आए हैं इसको लेने के लिए। इसे 20 रुपए का एक पैकेट मिला और 60 रुपए का 3 पैकेट दिया।
नमक मतलब इतना महंगा हो रहा है, सब लोग अफवाह उड़ी हुई है, तो हम भी वही जानना चाह रहे हैं, दुकान पे जा रहे 100 रुपए किलो, मतलब क्या, मतलब समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या हो रहा है।
ऐसी अफवाह फैली है कि नमक 100 रुपए किलो हो गया है, जनता टूटी पड़ी नमक के ऊपर और लोग दौड़ दौड़ के नमक ले रहे हैं, दुकानें बहुत सी बंद हो गई, इसको लोग खुलवा कर नमक ले रहे हैं।
पैकेट 80 रुपए का दिया जा रहा नमक का, ये नमक में कभी आज तक नहीं हुआ, आज नमक में इतना ही महंगाई।
Rumours of supply shortage started in the afternoon and spread like wildfire to states of Gujarat and Maharashtra as well. Despite repeated clarification from the government, people in large numbers rushed to the grocery shops. By evening, shops in some areas were selling 1 kilogram of salt for as much as 400 rupees. The administration had to deploy police teams to manage the increasing crowds on the streets.
State administration of Uttar Pradesh very categorically states that there is no dearth of salt in the state, there is no scarcity, it is just a rumor. And we would request all the citizens here to not to believe in any kind of rumor and believe in us that there is no scarcity, there is no dearth of salt.
Following the rumours, the government clarified that there was no shortage of salt in the country and advised people not to indulge in panic buying. The Department of Consumer Affairs too said that there was no disruption in production of salt, its supply and distribution.
जहां तक नमक का सवाल है, हमारे पास में नमक की कोई कमी नहीं है और आज भी हमने देखा है जो डेली हमारे पास में प्राइसेस का मूल्य का आता है वही 14 रुपये 15 रुपये जो पिछली साल था और पिछले हफ्ता था वही चल रहा है। अब कोई आदमी पैनिक फैलाने की कोशिश करे तो सरकार को उसके खिलाफ में राज्य सरकार को एक्शन लेना चाहिए।
The panic seemed to enter the national capital too, with the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal denying any shortage of salt. Delhi also witnessed clashes at night with people pelting stones at buses, but it could not be confirmed if it was due to salt shortage rumor.
अभी ये कहना मुश्किल होगा कि इस पथराव की, इस लॉ एंड ऑर्डर प्रॉब्लम की मेन वजह क्या थी। ये लोकल इंक्वायरीज और जो विटनेस हैं इस पूरे इंसिडेंट की उनसे बातचीत करने के बाद पता चलेगा कि मेन वजह क्या थी।
The rumour is believed to have started after shopkeepers failed to offer change for higher denomination notes, triggering panic that they are black marketing essential commodities because of shortage. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And now, well, continuing our focus in the aftermath of the demonetization move. Now, the government has extended use of old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes for paying public utility bills by another 72 hours. And this after thousands of people stood on hours outside ATMs which reopened on Friday. Now, many places were clearly not equipped to deal with the rush as the ATMs have failed to work in several cities. Meanwhile, the RBI once again reassured the public that there was enough cash to meet requirements.
The centre has extended the use of old defunct 500 and 1,000 rupee notes for paying household utility bills, fuel, taxes, fees purchased from cooperative stores by another 72 hours. Now that can be done till November 14th. The railway has also extended the use of old currency notes for ticketing, on-board catering and refund of tickets by another 72 hours. The decision came after the rush at banks and ATMs on Friday. Besides, court fees will also be allowed to be paid in old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. The suspension of toll on national highways has been extended till November 14th midnight to ensure smooth traffic. Reports of several ATMs being shut or having no cash to dispense trickled in from several cities on Friday. However, to ease things a little, banks have waived the surcharge of using ATMs of different banks for now.
ATMs are not working, we don't have cash and it's very hard for us.
पता नहीं अभी कितना वक्त और लगता है यहाँ पर जो है उधर ऑफिस से फ़ोन आ रहे हैं कि भाई तुम कहाँ हो या करेंसी भी चेंज करानी है क्योंकि घर चलाना है और उधर ऑफिस में क्या नाम है गालियाँ खाने को मिलेंगी बॉस की जो है.
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi joined a queue at an ATM in central Delhi. The crowd swelled as news of his presence spread. Gandhi said he was there to share the troubles of the common man.
सरकार इनके लिए चलनी चाहिए, 15-20 लोगों के लिए नहीं चलनी चाहिए. अगर वो 15-20 लोग यहाँ नहीं खड़े हैं, उनको तो कोई कठिनाई नहीं हो रही ना, इनको कठिनाई हो रही है. यहाँ पे घंटों से लाइन में खड़े, मैं इनके साथ खड़े होना.
Meanwhile, BJP President Amit Shah took a dig at rival parties and said that demonetization has exposed them. He also added that the move has made some political parties poorer.
चुनाव में से कालाधन बाहर हो जाएगा और देश की अर्थतंत्र में से कालाधन बाहर हो जाएगा. इससे राजनीतिक दलों को क्या पीड़ा हो सकती है मेरी समझ में नहीं आ रहा. और जिस प्रकार का माहौल राजनीतिक दल बनाना चाहते हैं, मैं उनसे ये सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं कि आप काले धन के समर्थन में है या काले धन के खिलाफ है. मोदी सरकार ने जो कड़ा कदम उठाया है, इसकी आलोचना कर उन्होंने जनता को अपना असली चेहरा दिखा देने का काम किया है.
The government also moved in quickly to plug loopholes, with the Income Tax Department asking banks to report all cash deposits exceeding 2.5 lakh rupees during the 50-day window. Also, the Enforcement Directorate is keeping a track of as many as 67 forex dealers across the country to look into foreign exchange violations and money laundering after the government scrapped old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. The Income Tax Department is also looking into those cases where the Hawala route is being used to exchange old currencies. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news. Well, domestic airfares are all set to go up by a minimum of 1% after the government announced new taxes to fund the ambitious regional connectivity scheme, Udan. Now, according to the Civil Aviation Secretary, taxes could go up to rupees 8,500 rupees per flight, depending on the number of seats on that particular flight. Well, the Aviation Ministry will impose a levy on every departure on major air routes including New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore and Kolkata. Well, for flights up to 1,000 kilometers, the levy will be 7,500 rupees. For flights between 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers, it will be 8,000 rupees. While for flights beyond 1,500 kilometers, the levy will be 8,500 rupees. Now, remember, Udan was announced last month, under which fares will be capped at 2,500 rupees for half of the seats in 1-hour flights. Now, through its scheme, the government seeks to connect 22 airports in smaller cities to make flying more affordable for the masses. The levy will come into effect from December this year.
जो मेजर रूट्स पर जो हवाई जहाज चलेंगे, उन मेजर रूट्स पर ये लेवी लगाई गई है प्रति फ्लाइट के बेसिस पर, ये पर पैसेंजर बेसिस पर नहीं है. और उस लेवी से जो पैसा आएगा वही पैसा हम उन यात्रियों को देंगे जो छोटे शहरों से उड़ना चाहेंगे 2500 रुपए के टिकट पर।
On to the other big story. The long-pending civil nuclear deal between India and Japan has been signed, while Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe witnessed the signing of the crucial deal, negotiations for which had been going on for 6 long years. Well, the two nations had reached a broad agreement last December during Abe's visit to India, but Japan saw strong political resistance to the deal, especially after the 2011 disaster at the Fukushima nuclear power plant.
India and Japan signed the landmark civil nuclear deal on Friday after summit-level talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his counterpart Shinzo Abe. The deal that comes after 6 years of negotiations will allow Japan to export nuclear technology to India, making it the first non-NPT signatory to have such a deal with Tokyo.
Today's signing of the agreement for cooperation in peaceful use of nuclear energy marks a historic step in our engagement to build a clean energy partnership. Our cooperation in this field will help us combat the challenge of climate change. I also acknowledge the special significance that such an agreement has for Japan. I thank Prime Minister Abe, the Japanese government, and the Parliament for the support to this agreement.
この協定は原子力の平和的利用についてインドが責任ある行動を取ることを確保する法的な枠組みであり、NPT を締結していないインドを国際的な不拡散体制に実質的に参加させることにつながります。
10 other pacts were also signed between both countries in areas of trade and investment, skill and infrastructure development, agriculture and food industries, marine and earth sciences, and cooperation in sports and cultural exchange.
I think the missing piece in a way was the skills element. If you look whether we actually have the trained human resources really to take all of this forward. So one very big outcome of today's discussion was a very important skills program, what is called the Manufacturing Skill Transfer Promotion Program, which would train 30,000 persons over the next 10 years in Japanese-style manufacturing skills.
Earlier, both Prime Ministers held wide-ranging talks on ways to enhance ties in a broad range of areas. Terrorism remained the main agenda of discussion.
At democracies, we support openness, transparency, and the rule of law. We are also united in our resolve to combat the menace of terrorism, especially cross-border terrorism.
India and Japan also sought a peaceful solution to the territorial disputes in the strategic South China Sea. The two sides said that parties involved in the matter must not resort to threat or use of force. On the ambitious Bulletin project, the groundbreaking ceremony will be held in 2017. Consultancy work will start next month and construction will commence by the end of 2018. Prime Minister Modi also called on Japanese Emperor Akihito to discuss the common bonds between India and Japan and also the future of Asia. Modi once again invited Japanese companies to invest in India, saying that substantial finances are needed for a country's development. He assured them that reforms are underway to make India the world's most open economy.
Creating an enabling environment for business and attracting investments remains my top priority. Stable, predictable, and transparent regulations are redefining the nature of doing business in India. E-governance is no longer just a fancy buzzword, but a basic facility.
Prime Minister also referred to the progress on the GST regime, emphasizing that his government is pursuing a new direction of economic reforms. In line with the government's ease of doing business policy, India has already given visa on arrival facilities to all Japanese visitors and 10 years visa to Japanese businessmen. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And back home to the latest on the Satluj-Yamuna link Canal Row. Now, all 42 Congress MLAs in the poll-bound state of Punjab resigned in protest against the Supreme Court's rule in favour of neighbouring Haryana in the water-sharing dispute. Now, the state government constituted a three-member panel to explore legal remedies following the apex court ruling. The MLAs marched to the State Assembly after holding a meeting of the Congress Legislature Party and handed over their resignations to the Secretary of the House in the absence of Speaker Charanjit Singh Atwal to protest against the Supreme Court's order. Well, the state's Congress leadership also decided to meet President Pranab Mukherjee to seek his intervention in the issue and demanded that a fresh tribunal be constituted to assess the availability of water in Punjab. The Congress will hold a protest today as well against the order and hold a massive agitation on 13th of November. A special session of Punjab Assembly has been called on 16th of November, where the government will adopt a resolution appealing to the President not to accept the advice of the Supreme Court in the case. Well, clearly the political slugfest over the SYL canal issue has intensified, with the state units of both national parties, Congress and BJP, taking opposite stands. With the polls just around the corner in Punjab, where the Aam Aadmi Party and the ruling SAD also joined the ongoing verbal duel over the issue.
The Supreme Court verdict on the SYL canal issue has become a full-blown political battle, with leaders taking state-specific stands. While the Punjab government, led by Shiromani Akali Dal and BJP, said it will urge the President not to accept the Supreme Court's opinion on this issue, the opposition Congress and Aam Aadmi Party expressed dismay over the verdict and held the ruling party responsible for this.
कैबिनेट ने आज फैसला किया है कि पंजाब के पास कोई पानी नहीं है देने के लिए, और फैसला किया कैबिनेट ने कि एक बूंद पानी नहीं देंगे और ना किसी को कंस्ट्रक्शन करने देंगे।
देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को मजबूत करने के लिए पंजाब के किसान को मजबूत करना जरूरी है, और उसको मजबूत करने के लिए हमें पानी चाहिए, और उतना पानी जितना चाहिए वो हमारे पास नहीं है। इसलिए हम किसी को भी पानी देने की समर्था में नहीं है।
आज जैसे सारे एमएलए ये फैसला कर लिया है कि पंजाब दे कांग्रेस दे सारे एमएलए कल नूं सवेरे 10 बजे जाके स्पीकर नूं अस्तीफा देणगे। अजिही सरकार बादलों की जिसने पंजाब दे नाल धरोह कीता है, पंजाब दे खिलाफ फैसला कराया है, ऐसी मंग करते हैं कि मुख्यमंत्री अस्तीफा देण, सरकार अस्तीफा देवे, क्योंकि यह पंजाब दे हितां दी राखी करन दे विच नाकामयाब रहे है।
पंजाब के पास पानी नहीं है अपना, वो पताल में चला गया पानी, वहाँ से पानी निकाल रहे हैं, तो देंगे किसको? जब पानी देने को नहीं है तो फिर SYL किस लिए?
However, state units of both the Congress and the BJP differed from their Punjab counterparts and welcomed the Supreme Court verdict.
एक्स्ट्रा पानी नहीं मांग रहे हैं, 3.5 MF हमारा है और इससे ज़्यादा पंजाब का है, उससे ज़्यादा राजस्थान का है, इसलिए सब स्टेट का उनका जो एग्रीमेंट के हिसाब से पानी लाना है उतना ही विषय है।
फैसले का हम स्वागत करते हैं, और अब मैं उम्मीद करूंगा कि केंद्र सरकार हरियाणा के साथ न्याय करते हुए, फैसले का पालन करते हुए तुरंत SYL को पूरा करा के हरियाणा के हिस्से का पानी हरियाणा को दिलाने का काम करेगा।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की प्रदेश में भी, केंद्र में भी और पंजाब में भी उनकी सहयोगी सरकार है। मैं उम्मीद रखूंगा कि जल्द से जल्द इस साल के अंत से पहले सतलुज यमुना लिंक का निर्माण कार्य भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरी तौर पर करवाने का काम करे।
On Thursday, the Supreme Court termed the Punjab Termination of Agreements Act 2004 as unconstitutional, saying that Punjab could not have taken a unilateral decision to terminate the water-sharing agreement with Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi and Chandigarh. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, time to take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
जब बीजेपी विकास की बात करती है तो बीच बीच में मैंने देखा है कि राम मंदिर को लेकर भी कुछ ओवरटोन सुनाई पड़ती हैं। कितना बड़ा मुद्दा ये इस चुनाव में रहेगा? मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा, राम मंदिर का मुद्दा राजनीतिक मुद्दा नहीं है, और आप जैसे लोगों के द्वारा उभरा जाता है। सुनो तो, आप ये सवाल नहीं पूछती तो मैंने नहीं जवाब देता। सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स को एक चुनावी मुद्दा बनाना कितना जस्टिफाइड है? मुद्दा हमारा जो स्ट्रेटजीकार लोग हैं जो चुनाव लड़ाते हैं वो मुद्दे सुनिश्चित करेंगे।
Watch to the point with Union Minister Kalraj Mishra only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back after the break. Now, as many as 1,736 NGOs, including Ramakrishna Mission, Ashram, Mata Amritnandamai Mutt and the Church of South India Diocese of Madras, will no longer be able to receive foreign funds as they have failed to renew their Foreign Contribution Regulation Act registration. Now, the registration of the 1,736 NGOs under FCRA expired after these organizations failed to submit required documents for the renewal of their license by 8th of November. Well, a Home Ministry official said that the NGOs will no longer be able to receive any foreign funds. But if any of them approaches the government with the necessary documents, such application will be considered case-to-case basis. However, the centre also denied renewal of FCRA registration to 25 NGOs after they were allegedly found to be involved in anti-national activities. Now, a total of 16,491 applications were received by the Home Ministry for the renewal of FCRA registration, and out of which only 14,730 were granted renewal. And now a look at the events that are lined up for the day. Here is the day ahead. The two-day special meeting of the 48-member NSG will conclude today in Vienna. On the second day of the meeting, a discussion on the two-stage process to admit new members who have not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty or the NPT is expected to be taken up. Now, India and Pakistan, remember, have applied for the NSG membership, but they are not signatories to the NPT. China is said to be in close contact with relevant parties, including India, and have been having constructive dialogue and coordination with them on this issue. Aam Aadmi Party National Convener Arvind Kejriwal will launch the Youth Manifesto for Goa in the run-up to the State Assembly elections due early next year at a function in Porvorim near Panaji today. During its election campaign, party had taken initiatives like Goa Dialogues, Youth Dialogues, WhatsApp and other social media campaigns, besides holding direct meetings with youths from various colleges. And a Public Service Broadcasting Day will be observed today. A function will be organized on the premises of All India Radio in the national capital to mark this day. On 12th of November 1947, the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, had visited the studio of All India Radio, Delhi, for the first and the last time. He addressed the displaced people who had temporarily settled at Kurukshetra in Haryana after the partition. Well, now let's get to some international news. And US President-elect Donald Trump has said that he was open to leaving intact key parts of President Barack Obama's health care bill. Well, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal on Friday, Trump appeared to compromise on his pledge to repeal and replace Obamacare. Now, Trump told the Journal it was his half-an-hour meeting with Obama that had made him reconsider his calls for an all-out repeal of the Affordable Care Act of 2010. Now, during the election campaign, remember, Trump had said that the government-run healthcare insurance marketplace was a total disaster and a catastrophe. Now, Trump's comments come amid a surge in applications to join the plan from Americans who fear that it was about to be overturned. More than 1 lakh applicants snapped up Obamacare health insurance on the day after Tuesday's election. This year's biggest sign-up. About 22 million Americans would be without insurance if the law was repealed.
Yesterday was the highest, or I guess I should say the best day of the open enrollment period thus far. Yesterday, more than 100,000 people selected plans at healthcare.gov. That's an indication of the intense demand for the kinds of insurance offerings that are available to people at healthcare.gov. So that's an indication of the success of the program when you consider the intense demand that people have for these services.
And now news from the Marrakech climate talks, and India made a presentation on the water resources scenario in the country at the ongoing climate summit in Morocco, where deliberations were held on climate change adaptability. Well, during the opening session on climate change adaptation, preserving water resources, officials outlined the water resources scenario in India and made a presentation on the National Water Mission. Now, initiatives taken by the National Water Mission for Adaptation and Mitigation of the Impact of Climate Change on Water Resources in particular was discussed. Now, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Water Resources, Sanjay Kundu, elaborated on the role of people's participation in the Namami Gange program and said that the ministry was working in partnership with various central ministries, state governments and national and international organizations in this gigantic task. Meanwhile, in the second session for the day, officials gave a detailed presentation on various policies and schemes of the ministry on integrated farming systems, agroforestry among others, and integration of various departmental activities like irrigation and agriculture. Let's get you some more international stories. Here is the World Wrap. United Nations has said that Islamic State shot dead 60 civilians in the Iraqi city of Mosul after accusing them of treason. Their bodies were there hung from electricity poles in several districts. Now, a man was also reportedly shot dead in public for ignoring an IS ban on using mobile phones in Mosul. Reports of atrocities by Islamic State come as Iraqi security forces are continuing their push to take Mosul back from Islamic State. A former US ambassador to Russia says that he has been placed on the Kremlin's sanctions list and banned from entering the country. Well, the ban on Michael McFaul is a tit-for-tat response to US visa bans for senior Russian officials. Now, Michael McFaul said that the ban was because of his close affiliation with President Barack Obama. Nepal Prime Minister Prachand has said that his government was committed to table a proposal in Parliament by next week to amend the new constitution. Well, the amendment aims to meet the long-pending demands of agitating parties, including Madheshis. Now, Prachand said that the amendment proposal has already been prepared and the government was holding discussions with the main opposition. The new constitution, remember, adopted in September last year, led to months-long protests by Madheshis who alleged that it compromises their interests. US President Barack Obama will meet his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping and key European allies next week as he seeks to reassure other nations about the US's role in the world following Donald Trump's election victory. Now, President Obama is scheduled to leave on a week-long three-nation tour next week to Greece, Germany and Peru. In Berlin, Obama would meet leaders of the top European allies, including those from Britain, France and Germany. And on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Summit in Lima in Peru, President Obama would meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. On to some sports news. Well, India will resume its first innings at the overnight score of 319 for 4 against England on the fourth day of the first test match in Rajkot today. Remember, India ended day 3 with a strong reply to England's mammoth total after centuries from Murli Vijay and Cheteshwar Pujara. Well, Cheteshwar Pujara scored 124 runs, while Murli Vijay scored 126. The hosts, however, lost the wickets of Vijay and Amit Mishra just before stumps to give England a glimmer of hope. Murli Vijay ended his one-year wait for a ton as he broke the deadlock and scored his 7th ton to combine with Cheteshwar Pujara and lead the hosts' fight back. For England, Stuart Broad, Zafar Ansari, Adil Rashid and all-rounder Ben Stokes claimed a wicket apiece. That's all in this edition of news. Thanks so much for your time.